Now, Raheem Sterling will join up with the England squad later today after returning from a trip to Jamaica. The Manchester City forward played football with the Duke of Cambridge during the Royals' trip to the Caribbean. Sterling was given special dispensation for the trip as he aims to improve social mobility for young people through his foundation. Let's speak live right now, shall we, to the former England midfielder, John Barnes. Very good afternoon to you, John. It shows a wonderful faith, maturity in Raheem Sterling, doesn't it? How important is it, what he's doing right now for the young people in this country and abroad?
It's fantastic, the work he's doing through his foundation, and it goes to show that there are other things aside from football which we are very aware of since the crisis in Ukraine a few months ago. So therefore, when people talk about, it's all about football or you should just concentrate on football, if you can make a difference in other avenues, particularly social, where you have underprivileged people, not just in England but all over the world, then I'm pleased that he's actually done that. There's also Leon Bailey, who's there from Aston Villa, and alongside them is the Jamaica bobsleigh team. So it's great that it can be highlighted, the issues they're having. They're in an area called Trenchtown, which I know well. My school wasn't far from there, a deprived area with a lot of crime. So it's good to see that. Also good to see that the roles are there, highlighting the problems that they're actually having. So good on Raheem.
Yeah. OK, let's talk about England then as well. There's some new faces in this England squad. Tyrick Mitchell, one of the standouts. How difficult will it be for him to adapt to international football? He unlike most of the others, he hasn't any previous age group experience, has he?
Yeah, and of course there's got Mark Guehi. Ben White is now in the squad. But I think that the way they play at their clubs and the coaching that they have at their clubs, and there's a very specific way that England play which will obviously make it easy for them because they'll be told exactly what their requirements are on the pitch. And as long as they've got the technical and physical ability which they have, it's very easy to integrate modern players into an international setup now. Gareth has done a great job in terms of having a unique way of playing for England, an understandable way for everybody. So when the players come in, you bring your own personality, but you also understand what's required of you in that position in terms of the formations and the systems. And as long as you have the right attitude and the right physicality and the right technical ability, I'm sure it won't be a problem.
You mentioned Guehi as well. He's another new call-up. How much would you like to see him given a chance at the back?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's done so well for Crystal Palace. Of course, Ben White is now there as well. And you have seen that we have deviated from a 4 at the back to maybe 3 at the back. And as long as the players understand that, and at Crystal Palace, with what Patrick Vieira does with them, the work they does, he understands systems. And if you understand the system, you understand the requirement of bringing in your own personality, I think that, it's much easier than in my day when you actually just bring what you brought to the team and then you had to then interpret however you thought that the team should play in regards of your own personality as well. Whereas now, it's much easier for the England players because they completely understand what's required of them in their position. And as I said, they've got the physicality, they've got the technical ability, and with the work they do at their clubs, I think it's an easier transition to make to international football now.
Yeah. What's most important, John, at international level? I'm thinking of Harry Maguire. There's no doubting his ability when things are going well for him. I think even he would maybe say that hasn't been his best season this season. Experience and international nous or current form. For you, Maguire, is he still England's best defender, or is his place at risk here?
I think being comfortable in the team you're actually playing in. And I think that a lot of the England players, regardless of how their form goes, and Maguire is one, is much more comfortable playing for England than he is for his club. This is how football has completely changed from my day, where I was much more comfortable playing for my club. And it was difficult for players like Chris Waddle, myself, even Glenn Hoddle, who was England's greatest player as I was concerned from a technical point of view, to translate that to England. Whereas I think now it just seems much easier for people to go into a very comfortable situation with England than it is with their club. So as much as we may say that Harry Maguire may not be doing well for his club, every time he plays for England, and I'm sure even these games coming up, he'll be fine.
So is that football that has changed, or is that a lot of credit down to Gareth Southgate and then the atmosphere he's created within this squad?
Well, it's not just the atmosphere, it's also the identifiable way they actually play. So whoever comes into England, as I said, it's made plain to them what's required for them in their position in relation to the team pattern, in relation to the system, and then it's much easier for players to do that rather than saying you're coming to England and then you have to then decipher how you want to play, how you do it for your club, and different players playing different styles at different clubs, then coming into a system with England whereby how do we actually play? Whereas I think now, however you play for your club, you then come to England, and as much as they may go from a 4-4-3-3 or 3 at the back and 5 in midfield, the other two systems that they're made aware of what's required from them in those positions. And then, as I said, because they're such good athletes and good technical proponents, that it's much easier for them with England.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the forward positions. Bukayo Saka been in great form, hasn't he, for Arsenal? Interesting, after the game against Aston Villa, he's wanted a bit more protection from referees. Well, Steven Gerrard said he needed to toughen up. I guess two sides of the same coin. What's your view?
I don't think when he talked about protection, players are protected now because from a physical point of view, players aren't in any danger of injury. So when he talked about protection, I just think he meant to be given free kicks where they're free kicks. I don't think he meant from a physical point of view he is not being protected and he could get injured and they're being too physical with him. I think he just means that, protection meaning when it's a free kick, give a free kick. Once again, I think that the laws of football, I think, have changed for the better now than they were 2 and 3 years ago, because now you are allowed to be physical. Things that were being given as free kicks 2-3 years ago, maybe even last year, which had been from the 10 years previously, which we thought were ridiculous because football is a physical game. I think now they're letting things go. And I think for young players who have been used to, in the last 4 or 5 years, being given free kicks if somebody pushes them or somebody touches them a little bit, they're now not giving free kicks. So I don't think it's a point of view of necessarily protection in terms of him being in any danger of being injured. I think it's more just, looking for free kicks when they would have been given last year and the year before. But I think it's right in what they're doing because now they're allowing play to go on, and for me it's a much better way. He just has to get used to that.
Yeah. The breaking news this morning, John, it seems likely that the UK and Ireland will be named as hosts for Euro 2028 next month. They've confirmed this joint expression of interest, but there seems to be no other bidders in contention at the moment. What would a home tournament do for the game here?
It'd be huge. I mean, the game here is fantastic. The game here is probably the best than any other European country, any other country in the world. But of course, this will, not that it'll give us a needed boost because, as I said, England and Britain is the place to come and play football internationally or, from a club perspective. So I won't say it's well needed because it's a fantastic product that we have here, the best in the world. But of course, if you talk about a tournament being in an area whereby it'll be completely embraced by the whole nation, whereby wherever they play, be it Ireland, be it Wales, be it Scotland, be it England, be it the north or the south, it'll be just, people will just be fully integrated in whichever towns they go, and that's what you want. That's what you want to go. You want from an international tournament, not just when the big teams play, but when any team plays in any city, it'll be fully supported by the whole town, the whole city, and the whole country. So yeah, it's pleasing.
Very quickly and finally, John, there's been this controversy over the FA Cup semi-final and the travel arrangements for Liverpool and City. What's the solution to this? I'm guessing the FA need the money of a sold-out sort of Wembley, but should it be moved, in your opinion?
Well, of course, if fans can't get there, yeah, it should really be moved. However, if you know Liverpool fans, I can't speak for Man City fans, but I'm sure they're very similar. They will move heaven and earth, planes, trains and automobiles, as we've seen in the Champions League finals all over the world. So they will get there no matter what. But in terms of, ease and sense, it should really be moved to somewhere much more closer for both sets of fans.
Honour as always to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed.